So the future of marketing, it is still all about understanding user intent deeply and creating content that serves those needs comprehensively.
Hello and welcome to SEO Rankings Do Follow podcast. Here we hold regular talks with SEO and digital marketing experts to discuss hot SEO topics and share actionable insights with the SEO community. So subscribe to stay on top of everything going on in SEO. Today we're going to be discussing how to adapt SEO for generative AI, or how to create content that serves AI-powered search experiences. To shed some light on this topic, we've invited Rejoice Ojiaku to come on, who is an SEO manager at Nelson Bostock Unlimited, an e-commerce and B2B expert, an award-winning diversity and inclusion advocate, a speaker at global conferences, the co-founder and content and partnership lead at B-DigitalUK. That was a lot. That you have a lot of things going on. Be happy to find out more about it. Welcome to the Do Follow podcast, Rejoice. It's great to have you with us.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So if you don't mind, I just want to find out a bit more about you and just jump right in and ask you how you got to where you are today. Just share us a bit about your journey into SEO, how you got to Nelson Bostock Unlimited, and how you managed to have your own something going on at the same time. So I'll be happy to learn more about B-DigitalUK as well.
Yeah. So I started SEO when I was in a grad scheme. So after I finished my master's, I joined a graduate program, and the first placement I was put in was within the SEO team. So I kind of just stuck with it there. Started out quite general, so doing all of the SEO's technical audits, content, off-page, and throughout my career, I kind of wanted to niche down and predominantly focus on content. So I started to kind of slowly, drift from the account management to then content strategy, and just mostly like everything content. So, and how I kind of end up at Nelson Bostock was mostly because throughout my career, I was within like e-commerce and B2C clients, looking after them. So I didn't really have I had some B2B, but not quite a heavy amount. But because a content strategy sort of looks different for B2C, B2B. So when the opportunity came with Nelson Bostock, it was really, really interesting because it was B2B focused, but more on like the PR and content side of things. And I thought, what a way to kind of, still stick with the creativity and enter the B2B space. So that's how I sort of joined Nelson Bostock. But throughout, when I was at Neo Media World and I was the global SEO account manager, I had co-founded B-Digital purely because I wanted to kind of increase the inclusivity in terms of finding other Black marketers who are in marketing. Because at the time, being new, I didn't really see people like me or just knew who they were. The community was created to kind of learn, help people, educate people around what marketing is. Because whenever they hear marketing, they thought it's just social media. And me doing SEO, which was far from social media, I thought, oh no, there's actually other channels. There's actually other things available. So B-Digital was then born, and then we've just been educating Black talent and kind of doing job postings, collaborating with other companies to help us with like events for educational purposes, help us with like software access as well, giveaways, and just like working with people to kind of build on diversifying their pool of applications. And we've just been going for like 4 years now. And it's been really, really good. We have like loads of like members around, like more than 400 members now, and across Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. And it's just been a really great community because we've seen quite a lot of beautiful success stories of people who weren't in marketing, now in marketing, people who, didn't have jobs or knew anything about, the landscape, to building connections. So it's been kind of a really fun, journey. So yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to you for starting something like that, helping out people, getting the community, leveling up the community. So that's always good. I just wanted to jump into the topic a bit more. So let's do the segue. So we're going to talking about these AI overviews, ChatGPT, people using that to search for things, and some things come up as results. So that is the core of our discussion today. So with the rise of these capabilities, how do you see the AI-powered search experience changing the SEO landscape, how we approach SEO?
So I think generative AI is fundamentally shifting how people interact with search engines. And it's like a new notion for us because everyone typically just relies on the normal Google search. But traditional search engines sort of provide a list of links, which is how it's presented on the search pages. Whereas when you look at AI-powered search, experiences like ChatGPT, Google Bard, even AI Overviews, it now aims to deliver direct answers and summaries. So this change effectively means that content creators or people who, or brands and businesses must now think beyond ranking on the first page of Google. So instead, their focus needs to shift on creating content that AI tools or AI search engines can easily interpret and repurpose into more coherent, contextually relevant responses. So the focus is, I guess, moving from more keyboard-based optimization to more content and intent-driven, context that's going to serve that user experience. I think that's where the shift is at the moment.
Yeah, we'll get to, I'll ask you the more detailed questions later on, but right now I wanted to ask you, what challenges, what are the biggest challenges? I already have a couple of challenges that we experience, for example, as a company. And what are the opportunities that this technology presents to content creators who aim to optimize their presence online, just in general online? Because I think it's about branding also, right? So there's just so much involved, and we just have to start, like you said at the very beginning, I thought marketing was just social media. No, it just keeps growing, right? So once again, just to reiterate my question, so what are the biggest challenges and opportunities that businesses can see from this just right now? Let's just take a snapshot in time and just talk about what the situation is right now.
Yeah, so I think when I think about the challenges, I think the main challenge is that generative AI at the moment, I think people are worried that it is going to bypass traditional website traffic because it's provided more direct answers within the search interface. So people are not necessarily clicking into the website or the landing page. So this can reduce clicks to websites because AI is giving those direct responses. However, I think even with that challenge, the opportunity lies in becoming a trusted source that AI tools can rely on. So the opportunity there is to build on authority. So if your content is well structured, for example, authoritativeness and answers user questions will clearly will provide a higher chance that AI will reference your material. So the aim is to understanding, there's an opportunity to understanding, natural processing languages that AI use. And this will sort of help brands create content with a clear purpose, and it gives brands more opportunities to have more structured data and adhere to the EEAT principles, and sort of keep that in mind, so that when customers are searching and are getting those direct answers, AI tools can now look at brands and businesses as a authority source for them to be presented to their customers from a direct response perspective.
One of the things that I've personally been, not struggling with, but we've been thinking about how to benefit from this is getting to come up for not branded searches, but brands need to come up as results. For example, I work at SEO Ranking, so it is an SEO platform. We have known competitors out there. It's just a matter of understanding. I haven't had any chance, haven't seen any results, but when I have the basic query, I have not seen us come up for answers because it just usually lists maybe 5 companies and then it just stops. But when I think about traditional Google, we make use of this query of this real estate to put up an ad, for at least we have an opportunity to do that. But with Search GPT and AI Overviews sort of taking that into a different direction, we are really struggling with understanding how even to work with GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, to understand how to benefit from this. Because like you said, zero clicks. I understand that, for example, I have a lifestyle blog and I'm just sharing ideas, right? That idea can be pulled up into an AI overview and nobody will even know. The user will benefit from it, right? So that is one issue that is even worse than the situation that I'm talking about, even with branded searches coming up. This is sort of a continuation of the previous question. In your experience, is there anything specific that we can do to come up as a result in an AI search? We don't need to focus on one type of query. It can be any type of query. Just with your experience, is there anything that you can suggest that works other than optimizing the metadata, the schema markup, having all the technical stuff in there? Is there anything that has proven to work for you?
I think if anything, when it comes to sort of context and content, creating, I think brands need to focus on clarity, depth, and context. So when we are creating, a lot of the content that we want to serve, there needs to be more clarity. There needs to be more depth. So because AI-driven search, does thrive on well-structured, very easily digestible content, and that content that answers user queries comprehensively. So using structured data, it will help to make your content more understandable to machines. And there's so many other content formats I think some brands are not tapping into does serve these AI search engines. So you want to sort of look at, creating FAQs or look at how-to guides and detailed guides that sort of answer that user query. And additionally, you want to ensure your brand's voice is present across your content so that even when AI summarizes it, your unique perspective remains the same. It is about refocusing your mind and refocusing how you approach content in terms of, or how we think about content creation. So rather than, relying on keywords and backlinks, you want to consider how can this content be best represented and interpreted by AI systems. And like I said before, there's so many other ways. And I think you got to think about the ways that it will enhance the richness of the content. So as I said, the FAQ page, the structured data, these signals will then improve your chances to be featured in AI outputs. It doesn't, hurt to stay up to date with AI systems like Google's SGE and, Microsoft Bing Chat, and understanding how those systems and how those machines are pulling information from websites. So I think once you have a better understanding with that and what sort of content does better on AI search engines, then you'll be able to adapt and shift how brands create their own content for their audiences.
I realize that GEO, the Generative Engine Optimization, is a new buzzword, and maybe it is a buzzword. So my question is, do you actually integrate any specific tasks or approaches to your marketing activities to specifically serve the idea of coming up as results for AI overviews or like an AI powered search? So, cause right now our team, for example, we just keep trucking, keep doing our thing, keep optimizing, keep pushing out unique content like researches. So we've been focusing on researches just to make that unique, add that value. So that this is specifically us. So I'm wondering, is there anything that you do specifically? You opened up a new, vector or a new team, or an expert just focusing on specifically getting better GEO results? Because right now it's just integrated into marketing for us. And I just wanted to know if there's anything that we should be on the lookout for.
Yes, I think, in terms of integrating it within your, integrating GEO within your workflow, I think it starts by thinking about the types of queries users might ask conversationally. So I think initially for us, we had to move away from looking at queries as just, those standard words and thinking about how now consumers who do sort of rely on, AI search engines and, do like those AI responses, they will start to ask the queries in a more conversational way. So thinking about the different conversational topics. So a lot of times now the focus with AI, I feel, is more steered towards more long tail keywords because those tends to be more conversational. So the what's, the hows, those sort of modifiers. So for example, instead of focusing on generic keywords, so like I said, focus on the questions, comparisons, the how-tos. Those are what the AI systems are more likely to summarize. And again, this goes back to, incorporating when creating your content, the idea of schema markups, because you want your content to be more machine readable. Structured data sort of allows that to happen because it helps AI understand context and hierarchy. So when we are sort of creating those contents, don't forget to create what was that look like from a schema perspective. And additionally, another thing to, put into your workflow is to diversify that content format. So we have to shift away from the mindset within our workflow that not every content needs to be a blog. Not every content needs to be the standard essay like blog, but AI tools can still pull from text, video, podcast, images. So having content across various media types increases your chances of being referenced. And it's also important to keep auditing how your brand's content appears on AI searches. So if the messaging isn't accurate or complete, you can then be able to refine your content to better match the questions users are asking. So there's so many ways you can incorporate the different workflows within GEO that doesn't move away too far from the normal SEO way, but is now understanding what does AI machines like, and what are we not doing? And then filling in those gaps. So if you're constantly sticking with blog form content, think about how can you answer queries or answer these more conversational queries in other formats. Is it better answered within a video or an image, and so on? And, not forgetting those other nitbits, things that we can do. So if you do have images, not forgetting the alt text. But if you do have long form blog or even videos, not forgetting that structured data, because you want to give the AI machine as much information as you can. So just getting into the habit of doing those within your workflow and having those checklists. Do we have the schema for it? Is it diversified? And I think that will make it easier to incorporate GEO into the workflow that you already have within your business.
We've been talking about AI, but with regard to just a system that processes the information that we create as humans. What about if we include AI in the process of creating this content? Does this change the picture? I understand that it does, but it's just what if we just ask AI to create stuff for AI? How can we remain unique in the eyes of the search engine primarily? Because right now we're talking about AI just looking at everything, no human interaction involved, just it analyzes the data and puts something out. So how do we stay true to ourselves, to our business, show our, not necessarily diversity, but our unique selling point or whatever it is? In your experience, is it possible to create content that will do magic, create wonders if it is created through AI?
I think, there is a way to sort of maintain your brand's uniqueness when it comes to voice, especially even with AI generated summaries. So you want to ensure that your brand tone and messaging are consistent across all content. That's even regardless of AI or regardless of any sort of machine learning engines. Your brand's tone and messaging should be naturally consistent. And this is simply because AI systems, they pick up on reoccurring themes and reoccurring phrases and structures. So if your content is consistent and it reflects your brand's identity, then the AI is likely to retain those elements. You still want to use branded phrases and especially storytelling techniques and case studies to make your content stand out. So authorship signals also play a role, and that clearly indicates who is responsible for the content and why they're an expert. So if you are within the health sector or anything that is classified under your money, your life, so health, finance, and all those things, you want to make sure, you have authorship signals. So if you are writing a blog about keeping healthy or how to maintain finances, add an authorship to it. Give the person who has written that blog a degree of credibility to show why they are experts to talk on that subject. Another way to sort of do this is, again, going back to structured data and metadata, and this can reinforce your brand's identity. So monitor how your brand is being referenced in AI outputs and then adjust your content if the summaries aren't accurate. It is a matter of making sure you're going back and seeing that how you want your brand to be represented is how it is actually being served to consumers. And by providing clear and concise content in your own brand's unique perspective, it helps ensure that the voice remains present across the board. So making sure you're understanding your own brand's common themes, and the power of storytelling would help you do that as well. So yes, there is definitely a way brands can ensure that their voices are unique, but it's just different processes in how you sort of do so.
I was just thinking about these AI overviews and ChatGPT stuff like that. It just looks like something that only the end user can benefit from. As a business, I'm always thinking okay, we know about it, we're talking about it at this event, but what is the end goal of it? For businesses, is it actually is it really worth the effort of just writing a blog that does not mention your brand and having that information? Maybe you could have a controversial point. Maybe you have a unique recipe from your grandma and you want to share it online. Maybe, but is that enough for you as a business to benefit from it? Because right now it looks like we're all just feeding Google information, and Google is going to get the thumbs up from everybody, not us. So I'm just thinking, is it even worth it? What is, because we've been talking about AI overviews for a year now, discussing these things, and a year has gone by. Has your attitude changed? Do you think that it is still going to be beneficial to businesses? Is it going to be only beneficial to users? What is your standpoint on this?
I think it's beneficial to both. I think in terms of the value it brings for businesses is that with AI, a lot of things can be automated. AI is fed the data. So the data that is sort of used, businesses can pull value from it and sort of look at audience insights and look at trending topics or look at things that make it a lot easier, because before AI, I think a lot of things, or a lot of things businesses do, especially from an SEO perspective, a lot of it is quite manual. And I think that is the benefit it has for businesses, is that we are now able to automate the things that we do to make sure that we're providing results a lot quicker, to make sure that we are actually really tapping into the consumer insights. And for consumers, AI is always going to be beneficial because consumers are not wasting time looking for information. It serves directly. They know where to sort of look. Consumers are even using AI to automate their, everyday tasks that they do, be it, creating drafts, be it creating different topics that if they do want to start doing, content creating, be it even just making their day-to-day lives a bit easier by generating lists and so on, because now AI is embedded in everything from Grammarly all the way down to, search engines, even now down to Instagram, direct messaging. AI is now being incorporated because the whole thing is convenience. So for consumers, AI just makes things a lot easier, a lot more convenient for them. So I think the benefit can be seen both ways. And the benefits come from how people are using that AI machine or the AI capabilities.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rejoice. I have a question about, like you said that you started B-DigitalUK because you didn't see any people who are similar to you out there. You didn't see anybody, and you didn't probably read any content that you felt was related to you. How important is it to diversify content, diversify your approaches to make sure that you're including as many people as possible with regard to as well as AI generated content and AI overviews? For example, just to give you an idea. So you were asking something, Google, and you're asking it something, and it's giving you, I don't know how I say it properly, but like a white answer, like for white people, if that is a way of saying it. Yeah, and that immediately you're pushed away from it, right? So how important it is it to still push this with regard to the global community being more, I don't want to say woke. I want to say just understanding, have a better understanding of what is going on everywhere. So basically, just to reiterate, how important it is to have diversity and inclusion in SEO with regard to AI capabilities of like search bots, and with regard to automation, with regard to creating content through AI.
I think personally for me, diversity and inclusion are very important in SEO because search engines and AI systems should reflect a broad spectrum of user experiences and perspective. And because AI systems learn from the data that they're fed, and if that data lacks diversity, then the AI output will also reflect those biases. And it's very important because content creators, they need to ensure that their content is inclusive and representative of different cultures, genders, abilities, and experiences. And it can be achieved using different diverse sources. So including voices from underrepresented communities and avoiding stereotypes, even in the way we, are writing the content and we're talking about certain communities, understanding the nuances of those communities, what's the correct language to use, what's the correct terminology to describe something in. So this allows you to sort of demonstrate that EEAT because it involves showcasing your real world expertise. And it's about providing transparency about authorship and credentials and citing reputable sources. So if you are creating that inclusive content, making sure that the authorship is also reflective of that. And for businesses, this also means that creating content that speaks to a diverse audience and addresses their unique needs, it becomes a lot easier for those different audiences to digest the information. Inclusive content does not only improve your EEAT signals, but also ensures that your brand resonates with a wider audience, because brands want to reach as many people as possible. And you need to ensure that your content is applicable and relatable to everyone and not just a particular set of people. So ensuring diversity and inclusion is adapted into your process, even adapted into the ethics of your work. It makes it easier because the data that you feed AI will then give you a much inclusive output.
Is it always the best way to cast a wider net? Because when you say like we want to reach everybody, is that really possible? Is that even the right way to approach a business? Like, as you know, you have to have these the 4 W's of your business, and what makes you unique. So I wouldn't go to a company that has a landing page for Asian, for African, for different continents. I would just think like, oh my God, they're just so full of it, and they just want to cover everything. They have a whole team just trying to give me this false sense of relation to this business. So, in your experience, has it been? Do you get better results when you specifically focus on your community, on what you do best, and then you connect with more people and on a much better, stronger connection?
So when we're sort of working on the different content we want to push out from B-Digital, for example. So a lot of it is centered around, we predominantly serve one community, but even in that community, there's different facets in terms of people of different religion, people of different, sexualities, age and genders as well. So you can't necessarily target everyone, but I think you can be specific in the language you're using. So if you are going to speak about a particular community, or even if you break it down into your different personas of, the buyers or consumers that you want to target, having that persona, it is about making sure that persona does not have any stereotypes in it. And, those stereotypes are not going to cause any sort of bias. So when we are speaking, when we are targeting the Black community, for example, very particular in the nuances and the language used and the terminologies that are not insensitive to them. So if you are a business and you want to sort of target a wide spectrum, I think it will serve you better to understand nuances of that community. Even if, for example, you are selling a hair product even like a skin product, for example, and you're within the health community or you're in the medical field, there's so many biases already in that space. So just understanding how can our content not feed into that bias, and how can we make sure that we are talking about people, if we are going to reference different communities, how are we speaking about them in the language that we use within content? Because if you're feeding that back to an AI machine and you want to get an accurate output, you need to make sure the data that you have is accurate and void of stereotypes and void of biases. And I think that's how best to sort of approach it. You don't have to target everyone, but those who you are targeting, even if it's quite wide in terms of demographic or age or gender or sexuality, just make sure how you're describing, how you're talking is true to those people's real life experiences, whilst obviously still maintaining the brand messaging and tone that you have.
How do you see the relationship between AI and human creativity evolving in the coming years? Because I've read recently that this year is going to be all about AI agents. So you set something up and it just does the work for you. Once again, with regard to, because I always want to come back to the bigger topic that we have, that we're discussing today. So just once again, how do you think the relationship will continue to evolve between us and the AI with regard to content creation and with regard to AI-powered search?
So I think AI will increasingly be used for more repetitive and data-driven tasks. And I think that's the best way to use AI to kind of, again, through automation, those repetitive tasks you have to do. I think AI will be able to handle that and will be really good at handling that. But the human creativity aspect of it, I think that will still remain essential for things such as storytelling and emotional resonance and originality. So where AI can assist with ideation, research, even drafting content, but I think humans are the one that brings the nuance, and humans are the ones that brings the empathy and unique perspective that AI tends to lack. Again, AI is being fed the information, but it lacks that nuance, it lacks that empathy that we as humans can evoke with language and evoke with different content formats. So in the future, the best content will be a blend of AI efficiency and human creativity. And I think that's where the relationship lies, because businesses will need to leverage AI for scalability, but they have to do so whilst ensuring that their content still has that human touch. And this balance will sort of allow brands to create more content at a faster pace without sacrificing quality or authenticity. And ultimately, AI will be a tool to then, enhance human creativity and not necessarily replace it. I think the fear is people are looking at it from a replacement perspective and not an enhancement perspective, because it's very, the language and tone and nuances that certain communities may have, or certain terminologies of way of putting things, that would come from a human mindset, because again, we have that nuance, we have that empathy, and I think AI will be used to make the production of that a lot faster and a lot more efficient.
Throughout the last year, I've been noticing, this is specifically with regard to YouTube, but I'm going to transition the question into search. For example, on YouTube, I see a lot of videos that once I click on them, I can hear that an AI is talking, and I can see comments, and I see that maybe it is created by AI for AI. That is sometimes the case because it looks like people just want to get like clicks and stuff like that, get a lot of engagement through artificial means. And is that a risk that Google search, for example, also faces? Because maybe people want to have more social signals and they'll just send bots. Maybe they'll just send a bot to read your article and just stay on the page for 10 hours. Is that a risk that we are risking?
I think it is a risk that we're taking if we are just trying to sort of automate a lot of AI produced content and a lot of AI produced headlines and so on and so forth. But I do think Google is also able to put a restriction on that. Even if we look at the last core updates, I think happened in March last year, where it was focused on kind of penalizing brands who are just mass producing AI content for the sake of ranking, for the sake of just wanting to come up on Google search. Because what that shows is you're not thinking about the user in the center. You're just thinking about the rankings and the numbers side of things, which is not necessarily bad. But if you want the brand loyalty, if you want to sort of build on, users seeing you as a credible source, enjoying your content, sharing the content, engaging with the content that you're producing, Google is still people first, and Google is still trying to make sure that user experience is not disrupted. So there was quite a lot of websites that were penalized because there was just a mass production of AI generated content. So I do think it is a risk if your brand and that's what you're doing. It's a massive risk, and it just shows that users are not at the core of what you're doing. And therefore the question then is, are you creating content for users to actually engage with and to actually share and to actually find some sort of enjoyment reading it and want to come and reading it? Or are you just producing the content because now AI just allows you to do it faster? And once we get to a place where we're not user focused anymore, then what's really the point of search? Because brands are trying to connect to other consumers. And for us to do that, you still have to be quite human about it. You still have to kind of produce content that are relevant and content that are actually answering queries, and not just the fact that you want to push out content for pushing out content's sake.
I personally love putting words together into sentences and stuff like that. So this is something that I would never give a ChatGPT like 100% and just substitute it. But yeah, I want to bring our discussion almost to a close. I have one question before we go to the takeaway. In your experience, are there any technologies, tools, resources that you keep an eye on just to make sure that you're staying ahead and know about everything that is going on, just so that our listeners also add that to their list of reading materials?
Yeah, so there are a few like AI tools I've kind of played around with and think they're really, really good. So especially from my SEO perspective, even generic marketers that can use AI powered search experiences to enhance their content. I do think stuff like Google's structured data markup helper is essential if you want to ensure your content is machine readable, because it does look at the structured data. It will tell you where the errors are. I think that's really good way to kind of find out what's the best structured data to use. Surfer SEO can also help optimize content for natural language processing tools. We have amazing AI tools such as Answer the Public now, which provides insights into user experiences or user questions and queries, because you can type in a particular topic, be it whatever that niche your brand serves. Answer the Public has a great way of sort of pushing out loads of insights into user queries, and you can use that to sort of help guide content creation. And we all know ChatGPT, Jasper AI are great for ideations and they're great for drafting, especially when you're trying to scale content production, and you sort of need to have those quick content ideation. So by even doing your own keyword research or doing your own research online, and inputting that within ChatGPT or Jasper AI, and that can sort of produce different contents that you can think about and content that you may not have thought about. It can be a lot. It sort of simplifies that process. And there's so many other, AI tools that, people sort of use to, either rewrite things. I think even now with Quillbot has an AI generated aspect to it. And I think Quillbot is great to even use, as a marketer for like your everyday task. If you're sending emails, great way that, is an extension that you can attach on your Chrome, for example. And when you're sort of sending out those emails, it can help correct grammar, correct sentencing, correct even tone. So again, helping you just get through your work day faster. And that's kind of really, really, important, especially for marketers who are always busy. But there's so many different AI tools to sort of explore. I think there's literally loads that you probably can't get through enough, but those tends to be the ones I'm always going back to, especially just for AI, ChatGPT, Claude AI. Those ones are really good. And I think now people are enjoying creating AI imagery. So you have the things like Mid-Journey as well, which is outputting quite high quality pictures and just by giving it prompts. So and that sort of saves time on copyright issues and so on and so forth. So those are the different tools that I've seen being used, and I think can be great to sort of incorporate into your workflow for a productivity perspective and content creation perspective.
Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at the good old days back, just like reminiscing, like it was a different time completely, because right now we're just full gear switching up to AI. Everybody, if you're not using it, you're missing out. You're just going to be falling behind the competition with regard to the scale and that this happens on. All right, Rejoice, I want to have one final question, which is a takeaway. What would you offer to our listeners who are eager to start adapting SEO strategies for the future dominated by generative AI?
Absolutely. I think the future of SEO, the future of marketing, it is still all about understanding user intent deeply and creating content that serves those needs comprehensively. So, and it is very important to know that AI tools are designed to serve humans. So keeping your content human centric is still very critical, even though we have the help of AI. So still focus on clarity, still focus on trustworthiness and expertise within your content. Really use structured data to make your content more accessible to AI systems. You want to stay adaptable because the SEO landscape is forever changing and is changing quickly. Those who are more flexible and willing to experiment will always have an advantage. And you always want to keep your brand's unique voice at the forefront, making sure that you have a consistent tone, a consistent messaging throughout your content strategy. And the brands that do succeed in the AI era will be those that are focused on building trust and offer real value through trust and real value through content to their audiences.
Appreciate it. Realize that I'm done with the questions. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to plug your company, your services, anything if you want to have. Where can people find you? Maybe you want to expand your community. This is a great opportunity just to let people know.
Find me on LinkedIn, Rejoice Ojiaku. I'm always on LinkedIn. If you want to sort of support us with B-Digital, in terms of like providing training to our members, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And again, if you're a B2B business who loves, wants creativity in PR and content, then Nelson Bostock Limited is the agency for you. And so I'm always on LinkedIn. So more than happy for people to connect with me on there.
Great. Thank you, Rejoice. So I'm going to do the outro and say that today, Rejoice Ojiaku shared with us her expertise and insights on creating content that serves AI-powered search experiences. I hope our listeners are already inspired and already coming up with new ideas on how to create content that will be featured specifically in AI-driven search like AI Overviews and ChatGPT. Once again, thank you, Rejoice, for taking the time to be here with us, sharing your knowledge with our community. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Do Follow podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.